Did you know the woman at the well has an evil twin in the book of Revelation? On day 28, we saw how the Samaritan woman is a picture of the bride because of her response to the seventh man, the bridegroom, who is Christ. Today I'm going to show you her contrast, the harlot, mystery Babylon the Great, from the book of Revelation chapter 17 verse 5. They have the exact same history, the exact same problem, and both are presented with the same choice, but they choose differently. So who is this woman that becomes the harlot in the book of Revelation? Now, the book of Revelation is written to the church, and I always believe and teach that the Gospel of John and the book of Revelation should be read together. In fact, nobody should ever read the book of Revelation as a standalone book. You need the Gospel of John to understand the book of Revelation, but that's a long story for another day. Now, in Revelation, John presents the ultimate choice to the church. Two women, the bride versus the harlot. So what is this connection between the woman at the well and the harlot in Revelation? Do you remember the Samaritan woman, how she had 5 husbands in the past? She had one man in the present who Jesus says is not her husband. And then she met another one man, the 7th man, Jesus Christ, who was her final man and her bridegroom. Now, when you look at the harlot in Revelation chapter 17 verse 10, the angel tells us about the beast that she's riding. And the angel informs us that in her life, there are 7 kings. 5 have fallen, 1 is, and the other has not yet come. I don't know whether you see the pattern, a pattern of 5, 1, 1. 5 in the past, 1 in the present, and 1 is yet to come. Who is the harlot and who are the harlot's husbands? Now, newsflash, the harlot is Jerusalem, the city that rejected God to play politics with the world and retain her traditions. Now listen, every single detail is extremely important because John is using very deep typology. And I know this revelation language often overwhelms some of us, but believe me, this one is simple. I am going to simplify it. And once you see it, you can never unsee it. So in Revelation chapter 17 verse 3, John is carried away by the Spirit into the wilderness. And he sees a woman sitting on a scarlet beast, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Number 1, the scarlet beast is the Roman Empire. So take note of that. And why is the beast in the wilderness together with a woman? The wilderness represents barrenness, which is Jerusalem's current state. Listen to this. She's dressed in purple, scarlet, gold, and jewels. These are the exact colors and materials of the high priest's ephod. This harlot, Jerusalem, looks like the true religion, but she is corrupt. She holds a golden cup, but instead of holy wine, the cup is full of abominations. The name of the harlot is Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of all harlots and of the abominations of the earth. Now, in the Bible, a mystery is something hidden that is now revealed. The mystery in this is that Jerusalem has become Babylon. The city of God has become the city of rebellion and confusion. Just as Sodom and Egypt are spiritual names for the same Jerusalem in the same book of Revelation. You can check Revelation 11 verse 8. So, Babylon is the new spiritual state and the new spiritual name of Jerusalem, because she is in confusion and rebellion. She is drunk with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus, and John marvels. John is shocked, and what shocks John is that if this was Rome that was persecuting Christians, he wouldn't be surprised. But he marvels because he sees the mother city of his own faith acting like a monster. Now he continues and says that the beast had 7 heads, that the 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. Now listen, Rome famously sits on 7 hills. Even today you can check. The woman, which is Jerusalem, sits on these 7 hills. In what way? The Jewish religious leadership, which is the woman, was riding on Roman power, the beast, to enforce their will. For example, the plot to kill Jesus. And so Jerusalem thinks she's in control. Now, Jerusalem's husbands, it's a historical fact, are the Roman kings Jerusalem allied with during that period. And this is real history, okay? So the 5 fallen kings are, number 1, Julius Caesar. Number 2, Augustus. Number 3, Tiberius Caesar. Number 4, Caligula. And number 5, Claudius. By the time Revelation is being written, these 5 are dead. And so when he says 5 have fallen. He means these kings. Now, the one who is alive at this time is Emperor Nero, the beast on the throne, who heavily was persecuting Christians during this time. So Jerusalem, the harlot, is riding on his power to kill the church. So for the Samaritan woman, the seventh man was Jesus. Jerusalem, who was the preferred bride, was offered the same seventh man, but they rejected him in order to stay with the beast. And because Jerusalem missed her short time of visitation, which was actually 3 years of the ministry of Jesus here on earth, that is when she fell. The core problem of Jerusalem was her pride. Revelation chapter 18 verse 5, for she says in her heart, I sit as a queen and I am no widow. Now, remember, the contrast is the Samaritan woman admitted that I have no husband. And so she showed her need for the husband, and Jesus presented himself as the bridegroom who married her. But Jerusalem, the harlot, says, I am a queen. I am not a widow. She thinks she's a queen because of her political power. She claims she's not a widow, but she is. Why? I told you, Jerusalem was the preferred bride. Jesus said, I have come for the lost sheep of Israel. Jerusalem was the preferred bride. But what happened? She killed her bridegroom. And so her pride is that she refused to admit that she needs the Messiah. She claimed she is powerful and self-sufficient. She does not need the Messiah. That is what made her the harlot. And that is what led to her destruction. And so in AD 70, the fall of Jerusalem and the destruction of the temple happened exactly as Jesus had prophesied, which marked the end of the old age. So here's the contrast. The Samaritan woman met her seventh man, Jesus, and she was saved. And she became the bride. And remember, this is just a typology of the bride of Christ, which is the true church. But the harlot, who was originally the preferred bride, met her seventh man and rejected him. She chose her seventh king, who was part of the beast system, and her end is that she was burnt to the ground. The difference between the Samaritan woman and the harlot was not their sin. The difference was their response to the seventh man. The difference was their response to Jesus Christ. The book of Revelation is written to the early church, but it still stands as a warning for every generation of the church. The question is, how will you respond to the bridegroom? Which woman will you choose to be? Will you be the bride or the harlot? The truth of the matter is that the two always coexist in every generation if you are keen. And remember, the harlot looks like true religion. She looks like the church, but she is corrupt from within. At the core, what she lacks is the bridegroom. She is without the bridegroom, not because the bridegroom is not available, but because she has rejected the bridegroom. She has rejected Christ. But she looks religious. She looks like the church. While on the other side, the bride fully relies, depends, and bases her identity on the seventh man, the bridegroom, Christ. Which side shall you choose to be on? Will you be on the side of the bride or the side of the harlot? Let those who have ears hear what the Lord is saying. See you tomorrow.